Okay. Now, this is an example, and I was like, this is a perfect example of that. Now, let me ask you guys a question before I tell this story. What was your experience as a child if you spilled food or milk or something like that? And I know I don't want to trigger nobody. I don't want to trigger nobody. But there was a particular experience that a lot of us went through if we spilled food or spilled milk or spilled something. There was a particular thing that happened to us. Okay? Now, so the story, that right, Pickler. Okay, like I said, there's a particular experience that happened to us. Okay, thank you. So y'all grew up in my house too, right? Y'all grew up in my house too. I grew up in your house too. Okay, cool. So see, now, here's the story. I said I can't believe this happened because it's exactly what I was talking about today. So now let me tell you the story real quick. So yesterday, I reached into the refrigerator. Right. This is the common experience we've had. But I'm making a point. So stick with me so you can get the point of what I'm saying. Okay? So yesterday we were talking about the difference between poverty and wealth mindset. The things that wealthy people, people who are poor do, the things that people that are rich do, wealthy do. Okay? All right, cool. The example, so that was what we talked about. The example is I reached into my refrigerator and I was just trying to get a little sip of plum wine. I was just trying to get a little sip. I promise you. I wasn't trying to get a big sip of plum wine, a little sip, okay? Just a little bit. And when I pulled the bottle out, it accidentally hit the container that I had my shrimp in, right? It knocked when I pulled the bottle out, it knocked the container that had my delicious shrimp. I had only had like 6 bites. I had 6 bites and I had to get on TikTok Live, okay? So I had 6 bites, so I know it was good, okay? When I pulled the bottle out, the whole container spilled and fell on the floor. And y'all, I had a whole, too scared. I licked up the milk before my mama found out. See, that's, okay, right. G-force. It just spilled. And I just looked, y'all, I had a whole, check this out. I'm a different person. Okay, I whooped myself. Miss Crystal. No, what? That's a good one. I like that. I whooped myself. No, what happened was, y'all, I kid you not, because of my connection with the universe and because of me stepping into that next version of myself, y'all wouldn't believe. I literally stood still for 2 minutes. I kid you not. I just was like, for 2 minutes. Why? Because I was talking to the universe. What do you want me to see? Why? Now I start. No. I stepped into my new version of myself. And I started talking to the universe. What do you need me to learn? What do you need me to see? Why did this happen? There is a this because that don't happen, y'all. You don't just spill your whole thing of shrimp, okay? I started talking to the universe. I was sitting right, Dasha. I was like, maybe I didn't need that. Maybe it's the reason why. I started jumping timelines. I literally was like, okay, why did that happen? Was it if I had eaten it, would I have gotten sick? The fact that it spilled on the floor. What that means is now I got to clean it up, which means that if I was finna go somewhere, which I was finna go to the casino, I was finna go somewhere, would I have avoided a car accident? And that the fact that I got to clean it up now is going to stop me from being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Y'all, I kid you not. I did not go into, oh my God, I spilled my shrimp. I didn't even do that. I did not do that. I started going through the timeline jumps Okay, would I have gotten sick if I ate it? Okay, was there something wrong with the shrimp? Okay, if I now I got to clean this up. If I had left the house at the time I was supposed to leave, would I have gotten into a car accident? Or is there somebody that I need to meet now that I'm on a different timeline? Is there somebody I'm supposed to meet on this new timeline because I left the house 10 minutes later because I had to clean this up? That is exactly what happened yesterday. Now, how am I bringing these two things together? Because in the poverty mindset that I talked about yesterday, right? We are the first ones, us are the first ones that have had access to this kind of money. Remember I said that yesterday, okay? Our parents and grandparents didn't have access to this money. That's why when we spilled food or something like that, we got go get a belt, a switch, whatever, because they are thinking of we are first generation money. That's right, Miss Crystal. So because they didn't have money, they looked at that food on the floor and they were sitting there like, dang, you know how long in their minds, you know how many hours I had to work to make that food or to get that money for that food. So they're going, our parents and grandparents were responding to us as children who accidentally spilled food. They're responding to us from trauma. That's why we all have a collective experience of getting popped or whooped or a belt or a switch, because I said it yesterday. There are things that they taught us about money, but they were teaching it from a poverty mindset, and us getting a whooping because we were kids and we accidentally spilled some food or milk or whatever. We did not have the luxury of being kids when it comes to certain things. Okay? And that was one of them. Spilling food? Oh, no. Oh, come here. Come here. You know? But here's what I realized. Wealthy people, they don't whoop their kids over being kids, because they realize accidents happen. And they realize, oh, I could just go buy more shrimp. Or, oh, okay, cool, no big deal. That is an exact example of poverty, what the people who are poor in poverty, how they respond to situations versus how wealthy people do. Because I was sitting there like, okay, of course I could buy more shrimp. Probably got some more in the freezer. But the other thing was I started talking to the universe, right? But understand, Stinky says, I agree. Poverty is a mindset. Absolutely. Okay. No, not just food expensive. Definitely what, right. Okay. So that was just, I couldn't believe, like, damn, I just talked about this today. And here's a perfect example of this. I'm going to make sure I teach them this tomorrow. All right. So that is an example of how we all, everybody who put in chat, a whooping, a belt, a switch, I got popped. That right there is how one of the things we learned about money. We didn't know that was a lesson about money, but that was a lesson about money. Okay? Whereas now, we ain't going to sit there and whoop nobody because they accidentally spilled something, right? There's an accident, right? Now you talking about something, and what kid is going to sit here and just, throw something on the floor? We don't raise those kind of kids. All right, so anyway, but think about, because I think about stuff like this. That is a tangible experience that we all have had, but it was really a lesson about money that they taught us. That's why y'all need the book. And that's why you need the book, okay?